thinking this morning about my children and about how often we go to church. We did church last night. We do church on Sundays, sometimes twice. They are in chapel at school this morning. Their life is filled with as much Christ and Christian people and Christ-like stuff as we can get in it. And they see how imperfect I and their father and I are. They see all our struggles and our, things that we've done. We aren't untruthful with them about our past. We don't try to act like we are perfect church people, I hope. But it occurred to me today that, when they're adults, if they wanted to, they could tell this story and say, oh, I was a church kid. I went to church here. I went to church there. I went to church then and then and then. And they could really make it seem like we forced them into a lot of churchy stuff. And we do. We give them options. I don't tell them they have to go to Wednesday night church. Thank goodness we live with my mom, and they almost always have the option of things. They don't have to go to church, and they do choose to. But when you're a kid, it doesn't always feel like it's your choice, even if it is your choice. And what I'm thinking about it is that it is so interesting to think of if they do end up feeling that way as adults, and to sort of explore in my mind, what if they feel that way, or what if they turn away from the Lord? What if they need a time of wildness? And I was kind of discussing with my own heart if I should worry about that. And what occurred to me is that even Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, he wrote Ecclesiastes. If you read Ecclesiastes, he says all the things he tried and did. And sometimes we think we've really lived some life and sampled of dangerous things and been wild, but Solomon was wild. Solomon tried all of the pleasures of the world and all of the temptations to see if they were good. And because God had given him good wisdom, he knew they weren't. And he saw in the repeating patterns of chasing supposed happiness over and over and only finding momentary pleasure, he eventually saw that joy was truth, and truth is found in God. So I hope that if my children need to go wild, or if they decide that we force things upon them and they want to explore other avenues, that they just know they can, and that they just know that mommy will always be waiting, but God especially will always be waiting with open arms. It is not the most terrible thing to try life, to try pleasures, to figure out what's true, but just don't let it take you away forever. Some things are dangerous because they turn your head in the wrong direction, and some things are dangerous because they walk you right off a cliff. So I pray today that my kids know the difference, and that they see the cliff before they're going over it. And I pray today that if they're headed toward a cliff, I remember to trust the Lord enough, and I seek his wisdom, because he sets everything right. So I guess that's just a little note to my future self, not to worry.